Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, December 9, 2023, and welcome to another episode of Flossmas. I am filming right at the time of the day when the sun is streaming in, so I've tried to correct it a little bit, but we'll see how this goes. But I am so glad to be with you for another day of Flossmas, and we've got Doc kind of lingering over here, so he may be joining us in just a moment. But I wanted to say thank you again for joining me, and welcome to the weekend. We've made it another week. So to get started on the content for today, I wanted to show you one of my previous FFOs. And this is a series that I worked on for quite a number of years. I was stitching a lot, kind of 2010, 2012 for a couple of years, very much into it, and I was working on a specific series. And as I kind of drifted into other crafts and other interests for a while, Doc is definitely interested in the attention this morning. As I was drifting into some other interests for a while, the thing that I was continuing to work on throughout that time was this series. It may not have been all that often or a lot of stitching at a time, but it did happen. And so it took me about 10 years to finish this series, but at this point, I'm really happy to have it up. And it is something that I use as my monthly marker. So that is our Country Cottage Needleworks Cottage of the Month series, and this is December. And this is something, as I said, that is something that I change out every month and I use as my monthly marker. And you may have seen it in my house tour. This is something that is up in my craft room. And this little window is something that I found at Michael's. It was actually kind of a stand, and I just took that off and have hung it on the wall. And so this is something that I can easily change out just by releasing that clip. And that way I have each of these finished. And it's just very simply done as a flat finish using kind of a coordinating fabric for each of them. And this December Cottage is one of my favorites. I really enjoy these colors, the brightness of those classic Christmas colors. And I did use the alternative DMC. The series calls for mostly Classic Colorworks colors, I believe, but I used the alternative DMC for the series. And this is stitched on a 28 count mushroom even weave. So that is our fully finished of the day. It's something that I get to see throughout the year as I change those. And so this is just our seasonal one. Doc is definitely into some attention this morning. Hello, sweetness. I know. You just want to be a star. That's what it is. So that is our FFO for today. The next one I want to show you is, of course, our piece that we want to stitch someday. And this is J'arrive by Tournicoton, who is a French designer. And as you can see, it's just this absolutely delightful Santa and his reindeer, and it says Joyeux Noël. And this is a piece that I picked up several years ago, and I absolutely love it. I've kind of talked about Santa stitching isn't usually on my radar, but there are occasions where I'm like, I don't care, whatever, it is just adorable and I have to stitch this. And this, I think, is one of those pieces, and I just love those reindeer with their spindly little legs and the glee with which Santa is driving that sleigh. He is just like ready to get going. So I think this is just such a wonderful piece and definitely one that I will enjoy. Those snowmen are just so happy and to have Santa coming. So that is J'arrive by Tournicoton. And then we have, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because I've got this guy here. I need two hands. We have our piece for today from, he's like, conveniently heads off. Our piece for today, which is our advent calendar we're working on every day. And you'll see that number 9 is kind of a Christmas Santa hat. I think it's great. It looks just like the hats that our gentlemen are wearing in the needle minder as well. And thank you, by the way, to everybody's reaction to talking about White Christmas. There are a lot of other people who love it as much as I do, and a number of people who've said, oh, I've never seen that one. Let me check it out. So I hope that you enjoy. But today is our little Santa hat, and we're continuing to work on that. Every time I get to use this dark green, I love it. I think it's my favorite of the colors that I'm stitching with. And then the next thing that we have is our 2 advent calendars to open up. And I'm going to start with, I've got a little bit of a precarious pile over here today. So I'm going to start with Tom and Lily Creations, and this is our thread advent calendar. And something else in here today. Oh, some tea, nighttime tea, fantastic. I'm trying to get in the habit of having a nice cup of tea before I go to bed, just as kind of part of my evening routine. And this one is oat flour, lavender, and lime flower. That sounds interesting. So looking forward to trying that one. And then, oh, today is a gorgeous kind of turquoise color, light turquoise to dark up at the top. Absolutely gorgeous atoll. Oh, I love that one. I can see this as usual in so many different pieces. So that is our thread for the day. And then today we've also got a very large one from Historical Sampler Company. Seems like a box, we'll see. Oh, yes, this is perfect. It is cupcake holders cases for winter, and they've got little seasonal birds on them. Oh, that's fantastic, because I have been thinking starting tomorrow I'm going to need to do some cookie baking, and that is something I need to do kind of throughout the year. And I have a really great recipe for some sour cream streusel muffins that use either fresh or frozen fruit, and it would be great to put those in the tins. And I'd been thinking I might need to be making those for Christmas, so this is going to be perfect. So that is great. And so that is our regular content for the day, and I want to show you something a little bit different today. I've talked in the past about how I really enjoy, I've gotten back into Legos as one of my other crafts, and I wanted to show you a couple of pieces that are Christmas related, because I received one in the mail recently and it reminded me that I actually have a couple of other Lego Christmas pieces that I had forgotten to put out, and so I wanted to show you those today. I of course grew up with Legos, although I didn't use them as much as my brother did. My brother would faithfully get at least one set every year, would buy some with his allowance, things like that, and really loved them and liked putting together, of course, the sets themselves, but also would just build whatever he wanted. And he's passed that on to his children as well. They get, as they've gotten to the appropriate age, they each get an advent calendar, and that's part of their family tradition. Each day throughout the season is to open up the advent calendars, put them together, kind of themed a little bit to their own interests. And really, particularly watching the way that my two nephews approach Legos is wonderful. Like, one of them is a by the book, follow the instructions, you make exactly what the set says that you were supposed to make, and you do it very methodically. And the other one is just like, I don't care what it says, I'm gonna make whatever I want. And he makes these beautiful creations that are totally different using the pieces that he was given. And I love watching that difference between them. And my niece is kind of somewhere in between, I would say. But there is definitely Lego time whenever I go and visit with each of them. And my dad has gotten very heavily into Legos now that he's retired. And so he actually is probably the biggest purchaser of Legos in our family at this point. He buys sets. I mean, he's got plans to make a cathedral and all kinds, and recreating an Escher print with the dots. And so he's got all kinds of plans, and has a like very set up, like strategically planned out storage system and how you're supposed to do it. And he watches YouTube videos, and he's on the Lego users group for the state and all kinds of things. So it's been really fun to see that, like, something that was part of the family in a smaller way growing up has really become something that we all share in and enjoy. And I personally like them because it's a way of using your brain, but in a different way. Like, I have a lot of days where I have things running through my head, just stress and worry and things. And cross stitch is something that I can do in some ways to kind of work through that and be quiet and sit. But I find that I still have enough brain capacity in those cases that I can still be thinking about some of those worries. And Legos takes just enough of a different use of my brain that it really does help me disconnect. And so when I'm really struggling with something like that, I actually set aside the cross stitch and I pull out some Legos. I promised months ago I was going to show you guys a video of my Legos. I will do that at some point, but for today, here's just a little bit of a mini tour. That was a very long lead up. Here are a couple of my Christmas Lego sets. So the first one to start out with is a little Christmas train. And this is just a very basic piece. I picked it up a couple of years ago, so I will admit I don't know if these are all still available, but you can see it has little presents and the train is carrying those presents. So it is Christmas related. You can see this is intended to be a wreath, but not overtly Christmas either, I would say. And this is the winter holiday train set from Lego. So that one will be going up. The next one I want to show you is a little mini gingerbread house. And this one, as you can see, is just a little more complicated in terms of the architecture and the structure, the pieces. It definitely is integrating the dots, which have become very popular within Legos. You've got a fireplace with one of the clear orange blocks. When I ordered this, I thought I was actually ordering a larger gingerbread set. There's one that is a little bit larger, and it came and I was like, oh, that would explain the really great price that I paid for it. But I do love this one as well because it is very compact. And so this one will also be one that I go up, put up this year. What I've learned is every year Lego produces an employees only set as well. And they often go on the secondary market because there are a lot of employees. And this year's is a very large gingerbread advent calendar, and I want it so bad. And I have been resisting it because it's a steep price, and everywhere I've seen it, it's like $40 just for the shipping alone. And I've just bought a really large set for my own present for myself, which I'll show you later. But I've been resisting, but I am pretty sure that my resistance is threadbare at this point because it's just, I think it's one that I would really love to have up in my house every year. So for now, I have the little gingerbread house, and that one is, you can see here, it is the mini gingerbread house, and this was a limited edition set. I have seen this one on eBay, so I think it's still fairly readily available if it's something you want to get, but that is the mini gingerbread house. And then the other one that I want to show you was actually something that I got for free from Lego. If you spend a certain amount of money with them pretty much any time of the year, they have a rotating series of free gifts that they send with you based on a particular theme, something like that. And the piece that I bought, the Christmas present that I bought for myself this year was a very large Lego set. And so I hit that payment threshold. And so I got a free piece, which I think is just fantastic. This is another limited edition, but I'm sure you'll be able to get some. And this is the wintertime carriage ride. And as you can see, it's kind of evocative of that kind of New York or kind of small or large town carriage ride that you can take in the Christmas time season. So this is one I'm going to be putting together in the near future so I can get that up for my decorations as well. But that is, and as you can see, there's actually a little carrot in a box that you can feed for the horse. I love all of these little details. I love that it's got this very large decorative wheel, kind of the regular wheel as well. So those are my Christmas themed Legos, which I'll be putting out on my decorations. And like I said, I'll show you the one that I bought for myself. It's not Christmas related, but I'll show you that closer to Christmas time since that was my Christmas present to myself. But I hope that you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear what sets you like. And I know I've heard from a couple people who've also chimed in before and said that they're big into Legos too. So I hope this is a hobby that others of you enjoy as well. So thank you. It was wonderful to be with you again today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.